Hi all, welcome back to more Labyrinth, playing the extended campaign. So this is my part 14. Um, okay, so I didn't get the chance yesterday, so a couple of days went by. A couple of things to talk about. We're getting in a bit of a mess. Uh, where am I? Right, let's talk about a couple of things that I actually think I forgot to mention. One of the questions I'd posted was place a cell in solo play. I just get the feeling I never spoke about this. Maybe I have. My question was, hi all, Ansar al-Islam says to place a cell in Iraq or Iran. Will the bot choose between Iraq and Iran randomly, or does it take something else into consideration first? I eventually randomise it, don't I, and I place it in Iran. And then later on, I realised that once I get my head around, look, let's start looking at the awakening bot rules that I see. What bit was it in particular? I think it's quite near the beginning, isn't it? Yeah, I come across this, don't I? Recruiting or placing cells. When an event instructs to recruit, place, or replace cells or cadres. Now we were instructed it says, the card says place a cell in Iraq or Iran. Then the jihadist bot uses a recruit and travel to priorities of the operations priorities flowchart to select the country. Eventually realised that we went through the priorities on the recruit and travel to. I think I put that in the header of the video there when I was just watching it back as well, because I eventually I'll leave the cell in Iran, and it's not until the next part that I then decide that I should have been looking here. And I want to say that the highest priority was highest resource, which turned out to be Iraq over Afghanistan. I remember they were both poor at the time. So that was that. But I did get a response for my question from Zod. Hi Grant. Yeah, basically he's just quoting what I just said, what I thingled in the rules. I did realise this myself before he answered, but he says it took me a while to understand that this means play as an operation and look at the op flowchart. I think you have to start with the first box of recruit and travel to, and then follow the flowchart. And if you have to go to priorities table to select Iran or Iraq, that's how I play it. It's a bit of a long road in my opinion, but that's how I understand it. He also followed up with another comment that says, no, I'm using bot from Awakening, maybe it's not appropriate answer if you're using the original bot. Well, I'm not, I'm using the Awakening bot. So he was suggesting we go here first, but do you not... the question was, place a cell in Iran or Iraq. Don't think you need to go here with this one. But if it was just, say, place a cell in a Muslim country, then maybe you would look through this first. What does it say there? It says, the jihadist bot uses the recruit and travel to priorities of the operations priorities op-p flowchart. So, yeah, that is that, because that's the operations priority, it's op-p flowchart. So you would actually start here in the recruit and travel to part. And then does it follow up with... no, I mean, it just leaves it there. But we know that by looking there, because we've done it many times now, that when we look here, if we get to one of the, whatever box we get to in here, if there's more than one, like if we land on if recruit, auto recruit, then we would then go and break it down by using the priorities table. Yeah. So, but when we're checking for Iraq or Iran on this, well, actually, this would be relevant, because let's just say Iraq was a good Muslim and Iran was fair Muslim. Then it'd want it to put it in the good Muslim, wouldn't it? That's a fair point then. I don't think I went there. I just came to here and got highest resource. I want to say they were both poor though, was they not? No, hang on. No, I'm talking rubbish. We did not, because Iran's fair. This might be a mistake again then. Well, that, if it's wanting to recruit though, why would it want to recruit to a fair Muslim before a poor Muslim if down here its priorities are poor then fair then good when recruiting / travel to? You would think it wants to be in a poor country, wouldn't? I don't know, really, to be honest. That's sort of the other way about, isn't it? Because, like, ignoring this one and ignoring this one, the first one is good Muslim, and the next one, fair Muslim. I mean, that's got best jihad DRM. We're ignoring that until Awakening comes along. So, I mean, it would just be fair Muslim right now. So, good Muslim, fair Muslim. Obviously, non-Muslim doesn't come into it. And then poor Muslim would be the last one. But neither of them are good. Iraq was poor and Iran is fair. But Iran's fair and it comes before that. Whereas, if I didn't use that and I just used this, because I'm looking for Iraq or Iran, the first one I get to is that applies is poor, then fair, then good. Why does it do that? Oh, man. I think that cell's going back in. That cell's going back into Iran now. After that, because I didn't look at this at first. I didn't look at this, I just directly looked there, but the rules do say recruiting or placing cells. When an event instructs to recruit, place, that's what the event says, place a cell. Oh, hang on, what's the word done? Place a cell in Iraq or Iran. So when it does that, the Jihad bot uses the recruit and travel to priorities. Let's see, recruit and travel to priorities of the operations priorities flowchart to select the country. Yeah, I mean, recruit and travel to priorities of the operations flowchart. Doesn't it look here first before it goes down here? That's what we've been doing, Grant, but you didn't do that for this one. I suppose I didn't think I needed to find a country because I knew it was either Iraq or Iran. But, I mean, if it had just been Iraq, it would have hit into Iraq. If it had just been Iran, it would have hit into Iran. So why do you not cycle through these first, Grant? You should. Well, hold on though, there. Because if you do go here, this is before fair Muslim, and it's not a recruit country. So it is in the right place after all. This game's starting to. I noticed the last couple of parts. I've been out of my comfort zone completely, and yet see when it starts going smoothly, I'm really enjoying the game. I'm really enjoying doing the things, and even when the bot's doing its thing, this is really hanging me up here. With the Bhutto shot, Benazir Bhutto in play. Although this is just clearly, this other bit is just clearly a blunder on my own. So I mean, yes, I think you come here. So we either need Iraq or Iran, and we start here. Is Iraq or Iran a poor Muslim with 1 to 4 more cells? And no, at the time there was nothing in Iran, and that's a no as well. And then, well, mind you, we're not recruiting, are we? We're just placing a cell. The plot thickens. Because the reason it's going to recruit and auto-recruit is because it doesn't need to roll the dice. But when you're placing a cell, you don't need to roll the dice. So, in actual fact, you probably would bypass that one. Oh dear. And why, but, well, I've already asked this question. Why does it go poor then fair then good there, but it seems to go good then fair then poor there? Why is that? I don't know how that can make sense. I mean, basically, that's what Zod says, and I obviously didn't consider that at first. It says it took me a while to understand that this means play as an operation and look at the op flowchart here. I think you have to start with the first box of recruit and travel to here, and then follow the flowchart, and if you have to, go to the priorities table. And this is what we have been doing. Yeah, I mean, I've not quite fully read his answer. Well, I think I knew what he was talking about. I just, for some reason, blanked on this part and just went straight down here. Poor then, fair then, good. I've got, yeah, and that's wrong. That's wrong. I've got that wrong then. Because I don't think this applies. And I think the one that's going to apply is Fair Muslim, a Best Jihad DRM. I mean, the with Best Jihad DRM is irrelevant just now. It's just Fair Muslim that I'm interested in, and Iran is a Fair Muslim country. I mean, Iran's still classed as Muslim, isn't it? I know it's a special case, but Right, do we put the cell? Well, at least there's 2 cells left here, so we could put this cell back then. Would that have messed anything else up previously? I know these cells travelled from Iraq into Gulf states. There was potential that the one could travel from Iran, but I get the feeling it was travelled from there. Why was it travelled from Islamist rule? Poor then fair then good. See, that's poor then fair then good, so it travelled from the poor. Because we were looking at it travelling from there or Pakistan, weren't we? But poor comes before fair then good, and it would come before Iran as well. Okay. Well, the only question there is that should I have stopped there? Remember, it just says place a cell. So it's not a recruit operation. So I don't think that box counts. That wouldn't have counted. That would have counted. Right, okay. I'm moving that back to Iran now. Oh, I've got myself in a right mess. Right, okay. Let's move on, because I want to play some cards. And I've got other things that I've messed up as well. I've got away with one of the big ones that I messed up. Right, okay, so the other question I put up was about Al-Anbar. This was one of the last cards that were played, I think. Wasn't it? Maybe there was some before that. Place a cell in Iraq. Disrupt in Iraq or Syria affects one cell only, not cadre. Now, it's when I was reading this again afterwards that I started wondering, because initially my thinking of that was you place a cell in Iraq, then there's a wee counter that goes in Iraq, the Anbar counter, it just says disrupt one cell. And I read this card to mean that when you're disrupting in Iraq, or Syria for that matter, which, you know what, I'll need to keep that in mind as well. I think I'll put, oh, there's a wee box for it there, look, Anbar, in between Syria and Iraq. Right, we'll put it in the right place then. Right, so if you're going to do a disrupt in Iraq or Syria, it's only going to affect one cell only. You can never have it affect 2 cell. And then it says not cadre. Now, my initial thought was, right, you can't disrupt cadre in Iraq and Syria either. But then when I read it again, I thought, or does that mean that cadre aren't involved in this at all? They're not affected by this event. This event just says that any cells, if you do a disrupt, it's only going to affect one cell, not two. And it's not going to affect cadre. That's what I then started thinking. But I think most of the responses I got stood against that. There's quite a bit involved in this, actually. I'm going to put the card away. Okay, so First of all, I asked the question about if there was no cells on the track, which there wasn't at the time. But I believed that because you could do something with this event, it was fine. And that got confirmed to me. And even in the rules, it says if you can't carry out anything on the event card, it becomes unplayable. But we were able to carry out by placing this marker. And the guys all agreed with that. They all said, yeah, I mean... well, actually, I don't think the first guy replied to that, but Zod said this exiting a playable event would have no effect. The event is deemed unplayable, but he says the marker Al-Anbar is in effect, so he sees the card playable. Tim also agreed. You're playing the card, it still blocks the play of Bin Laden and Zawahiri, means that it does have an effect and therefore is playable. Fair enough, I'm happy with that. Unfortunately, the first guy responded with, well, my second question was, when it says not cadre, does this mean that I cannot disrupt a cadre, or does it mean that the cadre are not affected by this event and can be disrupted as normal? I tried to make it as clear as possible. The first guy, what was it, Shahi Smail, I'm not sure of the name. He's got this wrong though, I think. He says if there's one cadre in one cell and you have troops present, you can disrupt the cell and cadre in one action. Well, I mean, I replied to that. You can't ever have a cadre in a cell in the same country. When the last cell gets removed from a country, you put a cadre in it. When you put a cell into a country that's got a cadre there, you remove the cadre. So he's obviously getting mixed up there. So, right, so as to the second part, Zod says, it means that, now I'm guessing English, I mean, sorry if I've got this wrong and maybe your spelling's a bit, sometimes people mess up how they say it. It means that cadre are not affected by this event. Generally speaking, cards must be read literally, so don't try to infer. So he says it means that cadre are not affected by this event. So initially when I read his response, that he was maybe saying that cadre aren't, if cadre are not affected by the event, then you can still remove the cadre. But I don't think he's meaning that. I think he's meaning that you can't affect cadre with that event. I'm not sure. He never replied anymore. I did try to sort of ask again with another question. So to be absolutely clear, what do you think? With this event in play, can I disrupt the cadre? And unfortunately, I never got somebody like directly answering that question. But however, Tim's taking it is to the second part was, to me, a literal reading of disrupting Iraq or Syria affects one cell only, not cadre, says that disrupting in Iraq or Syria does not affect cadre. Right, so I think he's also saying that if we disrupt, we cannot affect the cadre. You can see how, well, it's maybe just me. It's maybe just sometimes the way I think of things, you know. Anyway, Patrick came along with an interesting comments. He says, I agree with Zod on both counts. Well, like I say, I think what both Tim and Zod are saying is you cannot disrupt cadre in Syria and Iraq. You cannot disrupt them at all. And if you do a disrupt in Syria or Iraq, you can only affect one cell at a time. Right? I think that's what they're both saying. And Patrick agrees with that on both counts. But he follows up. As for your second question, it seems the cadre stays and can only be removed some manner other than disrupt. The player aid has background in each card, and for this card it says this. Now, I've been reading out the events when I've been playing them, but just glancing at that, he's just highlighted a sanctuary of sorts. So this is about the event. So it's a sanctuary, like a place where, they can survive or like stay there. And I think suggesting that it's not going to remove everything. It's a hiding place for them. He actually follows it up. The sanctuary of sorts in game terms would be the non-disruptable cadre marker. So fair enough. He also has this edit. He said, this user gives a good breakdown of every card in the game and confirms here that the cadre cannot be removed, although they don't specify that is restricted to the disrupt action. This is a great thread. He's got a link here for it. Some guys went through every card and broken it down how good it is, or said, I've not had time to go and look at them yet. I don't want to go and click on it now. I just want to go on with the game, but that's going to be something that I'm going to have a look at as well. And then Tim followed up, keep in mind it only affects disrupt operations in Iraq and Syria. Anywhere else, cadre are fair game. Yeah, I was fine with that, but I replied to Patrick, yes, you posted a good description that said, yes, the cadre would be safe. Many thanks for the link to user. I spent a lot of time going through the cards. I'll be making good use of it. And then to Tim, I said, I understand about the only effects. Same. And I originally took it the cadre would be safe from disrupt. It was only after reading the text again. And I think it's just me, the way I read things sometimes. So we're going to say that, that cadre cannot be affected. Because I think I thought... there's only one cell now there. Anyway, what was I thinking about doing? Or was I just thinking about disrupting it? I can't remember. What are the cards in my hand? Disrupt once. No, it was this. And now this isn't going to apply. Tora Bora. I was thinking about playing this because at the time, I've just moved that cell back into Iran. There was 2 cells there, obviously. Play if at least 2 cells in a regime change country. Check. Well, not anymore, but remove the 2 cells. Roll prestige, which is scary, and then draw a card, which is quite nice. And then this card gets removed. But it was leaving the cadre there. And then I thought, well, if I can follow this up with a disrupt and disrupt the cadre, however, I wasn't then sure that I could disrupt the cadre, and I'm going to stick by what the guys seem to be saying. There seems to be too much against me getting away with the way I can read something at times. So we'll leave it at that. Okay, and yes, give me a second. I'm now going to have to go back and edit the video that I just changed this and add another edited comment in there to say that should be in Iran. At least I think it should be. Okay, so the mistake... hang on. So I put a couple of comments. Let's just look at my notes here rather than look at the comments. So for part 10, this is the mistake. I made good work and two cells got put in the United States. What was it? 2 cells to travel anywhere. They got the event was. So they travelled 2 cells to the United States. I disrupted twice, both disrupted them to make them active first time, and then disrupted them to remove them. And I spoke about putting a cadre there. Of course, I didn't do it. And I started panicking, thinking, oh no, because surely if there was a cadre there, then some kind of event, something might have... By the time, because this was back in part 10, this is part 14, I thought surely something would have happened for them to place a cell in there or something. But I've watched back all the jihadist plays and there's nothing came up that would allow them to do anything with that cadre in the United States. So we've got away with that. I did say that. And it's funny, I remembered about this I just thought about it when I was off camera at work or something like that. I thought, oh, I forgot to put a cadre in that in the United States. And this was just after I'd played that part. And then I didn't take a note of it and then forgot about it again. And it wasn't until I was watching it back, I thought, oh. So, yeah, I just said I was hoping to make a fix to it in part 14, but I think I can fix it by just putting the cadre in there. Although that's something else for us now to worry about. Because remember, any kind of recruit operation, well, that's what I was going to look at actually. I mean, they do have one cell on the track right now, but they can't recruit because they can only recruit in this, and there's no cells there. So that was the whole point of getting that into the moderate section. Let's just have a quick glance. If they recruit, would they recruit in the... I mean, you would think they would if they could. So recruit. No. See? I mean, good Muslim fair. They would have to get to non-Muslim for it to work in the US. But this comes before this. If recruit, auto-recruit with best jihad DRM. So there's an auto-recruit right in there. I mean, why would they not, if they could... on saying that, the recruit has to be a die roll, doesn't it? And the fact that USA is a 1, you would need to roll 1 on the dice. And that's why they go auto recruit first, don't they? So how would it... I don't know. So you're looking at plot, they would plot in the US, and my guess is they need a cell to be able to plot. And that's what would have happened if we left the cells there. But then, we've never came to plot here on the track either, have we? Although there's not many cells, there's no recruit possibilities. I mean, it looks like the next thing they're going to do is travel. You know, I mean, travel... it might be the US, but then they're going to have to roll for it. So I don't know if that cadre's anything to really, really worry about then. You know, maybe it's not. I was panicking thinking, oh, that's still left the cadre there. But doesn't really look like they're going to recruit there. As long as they've got an auto-recruit country, then that's going to come first. Sort of strange. I don't know. Maybe it's not strange. Maybe. Okay. Right, well that's that mistake fixed. One last thing. Oh, 28 minutes. Jings. I want to play the game. One last thing. When Tim had brought up the fact that I had read in the old solo rules, well, the base rules, but the old bot about the GTMO card, you know? It's further on that. Jihadist first player, yeah, it's down here. And this is where I had, you know, recruit if any cells are available and GTMO event is not in effect. I read that, and then if no cells are available or GTMO is in effect, travel. And we done that, and Tim rightly pulled up the fact that you're looking at these rules, it doesn't have that in the new rules. So then I sort of started wondering, I thought, well, I think initially my thought had been that the Awakening rules didn't override all the rules. And I think the solo rules do, but I feel like I'd like to leave the question here if somebody wants to answer. But just looking at the beginning of the Labyrinth Awakening rules, this says here, Labyrinth Awakening uses the exact same rules, victory conditions, map components and charts as its predecessor game. So, and then it says, then add in the elements below to explore what transpired, follow the set of procedures described. I mean, it does say what's changed and all that. But in the solo bot, now remember there is 2 different bots, and I'm using the second bot that was in this. And it does feel like when you start reading the solo rules in here, that it's totally replacing the other rules. So is that everybody else's interpretation too? That see, my initial thought was that these could just be additions to the old bot, but it looks like I think I've got that wrong. Because if they were additions, then that GTMO might still apply. Because I do find it a little strange that card. I mean, some of the other card names in the old bot rules, right? It's got card names and it tells you some things. Remember, they're all built into that event instruction table now. And I was really surprised that the GTMO wasn't in here. To say that, I don't think the bot would... it is in there, but it just says if US prestige is low, treat as unplayable. And that's just to avoid, because it hits their prestige, doesn't it? Or it's like, do we roll on prestige or something? But I think having GTMO in effect, it means they can't recruit the rest of the turn. It seems like they really shouldn't be wanting to play that card at all, I don't think. But, however, it's not me that decides all that. And I suppose that's maybe what I thought. But anyway, yeah, I think it is the case that although these other rules in this book are additions to the base rules, you still get to consider the base rules. When it comes down to the bot, this is a completely new bot system here, and you don't need to be looking at the old one, Grant. Let me know if you feel that's right, guys. I think that's how I'm seeing that. Right, okay, that's enough. I just want to play some cards, really. I want to play some, but I'm going to run out of time before I know it. Right, well, it is our turn. Yeah, he's got 3 cards left. I've got 5. There's my 5 cards. You can probably get all them in. This is going to be playable. Yeah, so this is what I've been thinking about, but oh yeah, and of course we've got another problem now as well, haven't we? Gulf States has become Islamist rule. Well, I had a look in. I did get up to look at the game last night for a little while, but I didn't have really time to record, and I was looking over some of these things, and I thought I might just leave this. Now the downside, well, the major downside I can see is at the end of the turn, if there's any Islamist rule, we lose 1 prestige. So if I leave that Islamist rule, it's going to lose 1 prestige. So I think that's fine. I don't think I've got... I mean, I do. I've got a 3 card... I've got a 3 cost card. I mean, I could do some reserves and whatever. And I do have 6 troops on the track. So I could do a regime change. I don't think I'm going to. So... well, what are you going to do? Well, I really kind of want rid of this. What's the other... I mean, the total purpose of cadre is just so that it can still be recruited in, isn't it? I'm sure that's right. Cadre, 4.8.4. Cadre markers. Keep cadre markers near the map. This is the base rules, but remember this is the 2-player game rules, so these are relevant still. At least that, I'm pretty sure that is the case. Keep cadre markers near the map. Whenever the last cell in a country without a cadre is removed by disrupt or event, not jihad or travel. Alright, so if a cell travels out of the country, you don't leave a cadre marker, right? Not jihad. So... Would the last... Oh, yeah, a last cell could come out after jihad, because if the cells failed, they all go back to the track. Right, need to remember that one then. Whenever a cell is placed from the funding track into a country without a cadre, remove the cadre. The jihadist player may remove any cadres during any jihad. Oh, that guy's maybe not got that wrong then. I said there was I didn't think a cell and a cadre could be in the country at the same time. I think they can. Whenever a cell is placed from the funding track into a country with a cadre, remove the cadre. So it's only when it goes from the funding track. Okay, I apologise then, because I've called that one out for being wrong, and I don't think that is. It could actually happen. The jihadist player may remove any cadres during any jihadist action phase. Right, and I mean, I know when it says, if you look at, I can just look on the chart for that kind of, recruit, place cells, any countries with cells or cadres. And that, as far as I'm aware, is the only time it comes up. So it's only going to, I mean, it is going to allow them to recruit into Afghanistan, Grant. So you are risking that. Right, what about my troops then? If I'm not really fussy about that cadre, what about putting my troops back? Because I can do that in Afghanistan now. Deploy. What was it? If from regime change country must leave at least 5 more troops and cells. Okay. What if you had, well, I'm assuming if they had, right, for a while there, they had a bunch of cells and we had less troops than cells there at one point. Well, it doesn't matter, Grant. You need to leave 5 more troops and cells. Doesn't matter if there's more or not. That's what you need to do. Troops track is good. 1, if from regime change country, must leave at least 5 more troops and cells. Yeah, okay, so I can move these 3. Remember, NATO, there's no point in deploying the NATO because it just gets removed. So my take is I can still leave the 2 troops there though. So deploy, move troops. Can I move any amount? No, move any number of troops from one location on the board to the target. Okay, so that would be a 1 cost. Play both cards. Yeah, see, I'm not really fussy about playing that card, I don't think. I don't want to mess with that, actually. No, okay. I'm going to play Fatwa for the ops of 1. And I'm going to do a deploy. And I'm going to deploy these 3 troops back to the track. Leaving the NATO there. Now, it did say the NATO marker. It said, that's the other thing, I think I should be leaving these cards down here. Some of this information is... Nah, I suppose just the whole cadre situation with that. I'm sure there was another event that's out there that there's not enough space on the counter to have all the text, and maybe I should keep the cards out. Possibly should. It's just where to put them though. There's going to be a lot of them. Like Fatah in there has got certain things. Is that in here as well? No, see, it's not been removed though. I've got Anbar. And then up there I've got Saddam captured. He's in here. Removed. I think I should just keep them. Vieira de Mello. Alright, that one's Vieira de Mello slain. I've got that one. And then I've got Morotox. Right, that's not been removed. NATO, Fatah, Benazir Bhutto. See, all these have not been removed though. I guess they're marked and removed. Right, hang on, I'll pause a sec. Right, I brought out all the cards there, and I just realised that 2 of them I'd put in the discard pile, but this is mark and remove. Yeah, and we definitely played that for the event. And also Morotox, we played that for the event as well. That's mark and remove. So I didn't remove them. Any of the events that are out, if they've got mark and remove on them, they're clearly removed, so they're not in the discard pile. The two that were in the discard pile are Fata. So it's just to see what it's all doing. And then NATO, and you can see NATO, it says, if it deploys, remove it. So I'm going to keep these cards at the side here, I think, somewhere. And hopefully that'll give me some reminder to keep. Well, I can look at it, if I'm not sure exactly what Amber says on it, because it blocks some things, doesn't it? You're gonna have to be careful with that. That's what I mean. It's not just disrupt one cell. It's you can only disrupt one cell, not cadres, and it blocks US Bin Laden and Zawari. It's blocked by Amber Awakening. So I've got to know that if US Bin Laden and Zawari try to get played for the event, then they can't. And it's not really got that on the counter, is it? That's kind of why, you feel like you want to leave the card here or somewhere like that. I don't want to block off some of the stuff though, so that blocks Saddam. See, there's a lot of blocking and blocked by with all these cards. Okay, well, I'll just leave them at the side for now. Maybe I'll come up with some idea. Maybe I can lay them out down the side of the board there to sort of highlight them a bit more. Right, okay. So NATO, yeah, we're not intending deploying NATO, so we're just leaving that there. So that was our first card play, right? Oh, I'll tell you what else we could do now, the fact that there is only one cell there, because we've got 5 more troops and cells. We could do a war of ideas in Iraq, yeah? I mean, it's at neutral, we'll just be shifting its alignment, but it's a start. And we do have an aid marker there. So, is that right then? If regime change must have at least 5 more troops and cells, well, it just does. Is maybe a good time to do it. Well, like I say, they can't really recruit now at the moment anyway. Yeah. So we'd be trying to move from neutral to ally. There's already +1 aid there. I want to say, yeah, hang on a second here. Well, it would only matter if you rolled a 4. I want to say that the other aid marker that we had in Pakistan, or was it Afghanistan? Or did they both have aid? Because it says that you can't, or does it just mean the first aid? Hang on. Does it tell us on this? Maybe. No, place 1 aid marker if none already there, but what I'm trying to get about here is if an aid marker gets played by an event, you can still have an aid marker there due to failing the war of ideas. That's my belief. So let me see. Aid. Right, 4.83, 7.22. War of ideas. Yeah, it's here. So the first aid marker. When making a war of ideas roll in a Muslim country, if the success die roll fails by 1 pip, in a country without aid, then place an aid marker there. Events also may place the first aid marker in a country. Right. Additional aid markers. War of ideas can place only the first aid marker in a country. Right, fair enough. So that keeps it clean, because you don't know if that was there due to a war of ideas or an event, because I think that was played by an event. So, although you'd have to remember it the other way, wouldn't you? Well, no, you wouldn't, because if we drew an event right now and it said put an aid marker in Iraq, we would put an aid marker in Iraq. If we rolled War of Ideas and failed by 1 pip, if we rolled a 4, we would not put an aid marker there because there's already one there. Right, fine. So we need a 3 card. Well, this is the only one that's here, but I mean, this is a playable card. Play if US hard and disrupt possible. Disrupt once. Take a random card for the jihadist hand. Can be bought by late. So we're taking a card out of them. I think I'm going to just play it for the ops and do the... Yeah, I'm just going to do that. So I'm going to try a War of Ideas in Iraq. I mean, Anbar's only stop and disrupt. So yeah, I'm going to play that. 3 ops. So War of Ideas table. We're still getting the +2 for being very high. We're getting a +1 for aid, which is +3. We're not shifting to good. There's no global relations penalty. That's another reason why to get these going while we can. There's no adjacent good, unfortunately. There is these 2 good countries here, but they're not adjacent. So, but it's a +3. So I'm going to go for this. So +3, and we need a 5 in total anyway. So, right. So yeah, it's only a 1 that'll fail us. So here we go. Oh, chings. Thought it was a 1. Right, 2 + 3 is a 5, is a success. So we get to shift that to ally. Okay. And unfortunately, all our cards now are 2 cost. Well, what I could try and do is maybe play this, draw another card, and maybe get lucky. Either that or put 1 into reserves and try a War of Ideas again in Iraq. Maybe. Right, well, it's that's our 2 cards played. We played them both for ops, so no events. Nothing needs to get removed. Just go in the discard pile. They've got 3 cards left, and yeah, give it a sec and we'll get their card drawn. Right, actually, I think I'm just going to stop there and cut this part for now, because I do need to take a little bit of a break. I would hope to get back for another bit, but because I never really got much done at all there. Just getting frustrated by a few things and trying to fix things, try to sort things, and not fully sure about some things, to be honest, but anyway. Right, it's about 48 minutes we've got to there. Yeah, so I'll hopefully be back shortly with another part. Cheers.